In this video, I'm going to give you a link to download a 1625 jazz piano backing track in sharp keys. In the last video, we did flat keys, F, B flat, and E flat. And in this video, we're going to focus on the keys of G, D, and A. Why would you want to do this? Well, if you end up playing with guitar players, they like to play in sharp keys a lot of the time. So in a lot of standards as well, you're going to find sharp keys. All right, the backing track that I'm going to give you works like this. If you take a look at this screen, you're going to have 8 bars of halftime feel in the key of G. So you can see G major 7 to E minor 7 to A minor 7 to D7, that's 1625. And then in this video, we're going to switch to 3625 after that. So B half diminished 7th, E7, A minor 7, and D7. So then what's going to happen is you'll have 8 bars of halftime feel and then 8 bars of walking bass, straight ahead feel. Now, what I would suggest for the exercise is to play comping for the first 8 bars, and then when it gets to straight ahead feel and you've got the walking bass, then you can go into solo. Once you're done that, then it switches to the key of D and you do it all over again. 8 bars of halftime feel in which you're going to comp, and then 8 bars of straight ahead feel with the walking bass in which you're going to play a solo. And then again, it switches into the key of A major and does the same thing again. Let me play you an example of how I would approach this exercise with the comping and then the soloing for each of the keys. And then when we come back, I'm going to give you some ideas on how to comp and ideas for soloing on each of these keys. Hopefully we'll have enough time to give you some new information that you can work on with the backing track. Stick around because a little bit later on, I'm going to give you a link to download that backing track along with this sheet music so that you can take some notes and work on your comping and soloing. Okay, let me play it for you and then we'll come back and discuss it in detail. All right, so that's just one example of a million ways you could approach this exercise. It is 120 beats per minute, so it's medium swing, and there's a lot of space here that you can stretch and practice with. Okay, here's some ideas to comp. One of the things that I would do with G major 7 is think about the 1 major 7 in fourths. So we're going to start down here with an F sharp, which is the 7th, and then we're going to play the 3rd. So you've got that 4th to start out with, and then put an E on top of that, which is all fourths. And in the right hand, keep going in fourths. You've got A, D, and G, like this. So a nice open voicing to get going with. If you've never played voicings in fourths, all you do is just pick notes from the scale. So if the scale is G major 7, all we're doing is pulling notes from that scale. Okay, and so on. Then when you get to the E minor 7, do the same thing, except let's ground it with an E in the left hand. So you've got E, A, and D. And in the right hand, let's play 3, 5, 7, and 9, like that. So first chord, and then second chord. Then when we get to the A minor 7, let's play a nice little close voicing here. So you've got 3, 5, 7, and 9, and 11. And then you've got a B. So play these two notes in the left hand, this and these 4 in the right. So then we get to the D7. One thing you might want to do is start putting in some alterations. So let's think about maybe a sharp 5, D7 plus 5. That would make it C, F sharp, and A sharp. And then in the left hand, tritone, like that. Let's play that whole progression. Then it's the same thing going on, except instead of 1, it's 3. So we're switching from E minor 7 to E7, and in front of that, put 6 in front of E, or sorry, 5 in front of E, which is a B half diminished 7th chord. The voicing for that might be, yeah, good enough. Let's go F, A, B, and D. And in the left hand, B and D. So we're duplicating notes a little bit, but that's okay. And then on the E7, let's do a tritone in the left hand, which is pretty common for me. I like to do that a lot. Way down the chord with the tritone. So you've got G sharp and D. And in the right hand, F, A flat, or G sharp. Let's do G sharp because it's kind of a sharp key, like that. And then repeat from the first bar, or the first progression. So what we're doing is we're taking these two chord voicings and just transferring them over to here. So let's play the whole line. All right, there's some voicings. Hopefully those are new for you. One thing you might consider is start thinking about how to transfer that into another key. So if this was G major 7, if we were to switch that to D major 7, it would be this. So it's always a good idea to take the voicings and move them into other keys. Hopefully they work for those keys and it doesn't get too low in the register so it starts to sound muddy. Let's think about soloing in G major. And again, I'm really just going to focus on G major for this one. We could talk about D and A. Maybe we'll leave that for other videos because we have a limit on time. What you might consider for G major 7 is to think about the chords like 3, 5, 7, and 9 for each of the chords. So for E, it would be E, D, E, B, D, and F sharp. And then for the A minor, it would be C, E, G, D. And then for D7 would be F sharp, which is already part of the key signature, but that's okay. And instead of the E natural, we're going to put an E flat in here to make it a D7 flat 9. Let's try that. Now, the other thing you might want to try is coming down from the top. Also works. Another alteration for this would be to think about how can you put passing chords in between the first. Let's erase this, and let's try to put passing chords in instead. So if we're going from the G major 7 to the A minor 7, then we might want to consider that one to go up an octave. So let's go C, E, G, and B. And we got to get from here to here. And that's really the whole part of improvising in jazz. How do you get from one place to another to make it sound good? So I'm just really coming down the scale. Let's try that. So again, we're just continuing on with the next chords with the same idea. And then for the B diminished 7th, and that's really what soloing is all about. It's catching the notes of the chord and then using passing notes to get to the next chord. We've learned about new voicings, we've learned about new ways of soloing. Now I'm going to just give you the link up here in the corner to download the backing track, Bass and Drums. And of course you can hear it as I played it just a little while ago with piano over top, but now it's just bass and drums separately. And also on that page you can download the sheet music, which is really just the chord changes. So you can take a look at those chord changes, maybe manipulate them a little bit, and there's blank staff that you can write in to make some notes, just like I've done here today. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you like it, please just give it a thumbs up. And if you subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell because you'll get notified of upcoming videos. So this has been a tutorial on backing track for the keys of G, D, and A. It's been fun for me. I hope it's been fun for you too. Thanks so much for your time.